Welcome to the second debate of the evening. This is for the PUD Commissioner position. This debate, we do not have an incumbent, and so all three candidates are actually also new to the political world, from as far as I understand it. So everyone will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves, a little bit of your background and your reason for running, and then we'll launch straight into the questions. Let's go ahead and start at the far end.
Okay. You sure I can do this here?
Hi, my name is Oreille.
Whoa. Wow.
Sorry. That was my preaching voice. Sorry. My name is Oreille. My wife and I came to Oreille County 8 years in September. We built our forever home here. She put up with me traveling the world, 10 years in the Navy, and 35 years in the technical field. So we have been all over. And so I'm running primarily because I never was exposed to a PUD. Every place I've ever been was investor-owned utilities. I've paid 2 to 3 times what we all are paying today. And this is a wonderful thing to have. And it's something that I want to make sure stays for a long time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out tonight. I'm excited. That feeling that I had before a football game, excitement and anticipation, it's been in my stomach now for the last 3 days. But I see friendly faces out here, former coworkers and teachers. I went to school with many of you, had many of your children in class, or I went to school with some of your children. And thank you for coming out tonight. Those of you that don't know me, I'm Jerry David Bradbury. Jerry Dale Bradbury right there. My son did not make it tonight. I was hoping I could introduce you to all the GDBs. But those of you that are not aware of who I am a graduate of Newport High School, graduated in this building in 1992. I then advanced to Eastern Washington University, double major in history and social studies and education. I have a master's degree in leadership and administration. And shortly thereafter, I came back home as soon as I could to serve this community. Exactly why I have a heart for service, I hope I get a chance to express that to you before the night's out. But my heart's desire is to serve this community. And I've had opportunities throughout the past to work with and for PUD. I admire and respect the entity. This has been in the works for many years. This is my idea of having the opportunity to serve the PUD. It's been at least a decade in the coming, and I'm excited for it, and I hope we have the opportunity to serve you as a PUD commissioner. But I'll tell you right now, my platform is not a change platform.
15 seconds.
We have awesome people in the PUD, right people in the right positions, and I want to do everything that I can to support and promote quality service at low cost for generations to come.
Thank you.
My name is Tracy Rutt. I moved to the county 6 years ago. Before I get started, I want you to think about something. The man in the arena was a Theodore Roosevelt quote, and he talks about being a participant, getting scarred, blood, sweat, and tears. I thank all of you for taking your Saturday afternoon, driving from distances in the county. These folks, these men who have stepped to the plate, and as well as the 2 candidates for commissioner. So if you get a chance, look up The Man in the Arena by Theodore Roosevelt. So my wife and I have been married for 40, we'll argue about this, 46 some years or 45 years. We started a business together, and we ran that business for 46 years. Through sweat equity, started with nothing, and built a multi-million-dollar company, and 6 or 7 years ago, we decided we needed to be refugees from the west side of the state to come to where family was to have a new life. And we wanted the suburban, relaxed, homestead lifestyle, and we all live together, and my children and grandchildren are underneath my feet every day, as well as my daughter and son-in-law. So I'm running for this position to help you, the ratepayer, because I see a lot of concerns that need to be addressed. And I am a ratepayer just like you, and that's the direction I'm here to serve you, the ratepayer. I have no hidden agendas. Thank you.
Mr. Bradbury, we're going to go with you next. The role requires attendance at 2 to 3 regularly scheduled meetings every single month, as well as traveling, for the most part, traveling to conferences and meetings outside of the area. Is there anything that you have right now or that you will have, that you would have during the position that would prevent you from being able to attend either situation?
I wish I could seal what Randy said earlier. This community has a rich history of calling upon people to serve. It's often the same people, time and time again, and it's that way for a reason. People who wear multiple hats, owning full-time businesses. See Mr. Smiley in the audience. I could go down a list of people who have been called upon to serve their community and take on extra. There's a reason for that. Those people, they know their communities. They're trusted by the community. People that the community can approach, and they know that they'll be listened to, and they will act upon the needs when they serve, whether it's on the school board, hospital board, or PUD commission. I could go down a list of those people. Maybe at the top of my list, Bob Geddes, Jamie Poncho. In my situation, not even 10 years ago, in addition to my full-time teaching position, I was the full-time manager of KUBSFM. I was a volunteer firefighter, grade kids football coach, AAU basketball coach. Oh, and I had 2 kids at school. 2 kids. We had 2 kids at home. Those things are off my plate, and they were done so purposely. I've had my eye on doing this for a long time, and roughly 6 to 8 years ago, I started taking things off of my plate so that when the time and the opportunity presented itself, I could shoot for becoming this person, and so that I could have the time and the energy to devote to being the best PUD commissioner that this community deserves. I want to be that individual who is trusted, and that can be the bridge of communication between the people and our PUD staff.
Mr. Bradbury. I'm sorry. Mr. Bud.
So, Mr. Bradbury talks about preparing for this job for so long. There's a problem with that. He signed a contract to be a school teacher for the next year, and I'm assuming he's got multiple years after that before he can retire. There's 36 days that PUD commissioners have had to be present for their job. 26 of those days occur during the school year when you're required to be somewhere else. I am retired. I have lots of time on my hand. I think my wife wants me to find something to do. And I have the skill set from 46 years in business, signing the front side of paychecks, not the back sides. And I have a lot to give. And that's my intention, is to give back to the community as your leader. I am a sheepdog. Make no bones about it. I'll fight for you. I'll stand up for you. And I'll take every decision that I make into serious consideration before I make it. Thank you.
Mr. Hood.
Yeah, I find it very interesting that a person who works full-time thinks he can do this job. I have attended every single meeting since the rate increased. And I haven't seen Mr. Bradbury, and quite frankly, I haven't seen you at every one. And so I think it's important that you can devote the time. I am fully retired. I think I have the education as well as the background to do this job. I just think it needs to be done in devoting a lot of time. I don't think you can do it part-time. But really, the bottom line is this. District 2, people who are voting, if you think your commissioner can only work part-time, that's your call. That's your prerogative.
Thank you. To be clear, in the general election, the entire county will be voting for District 2 Commissioner, and it's in the primary where only District 2 will be selecting the two to move forward to the general. Now we have the 1 minute rebuttal round. Mr. Bradbury.
This is an awesome opportunity to illustrate something that's very important for this position. An individual that's going to be your PUD commissioner truly needs to understand this community and the people of this community and the history of this community. I'll use Jamie Poncho as an example. I doubt these individuals know who that guy was. A beloved individual that served Newport School District, a coach, a teacher, an athletic director, eventually a principal. His dream was to coach volleyball at the collegiate level. His opportunity came. Whitworth asked him to be an assistant volleyball coach. The awesome employer that I have, Newport School District, accommodated that. He missed over 20 days of school each year for 3 years. He took his team to the national tournament down in Texas. He took our boys to the basketball state tournament. And the school accommodated that. I have spoken with my employer. There is a plan in place, and I'm ready to be your PUD commissioner.
I went out and looked at the last 12-minute meetings for the local school board. There's no mention of a deal for Mr. Bradbury. So I approached Mrs. Owen, the head of the school district, and said, is there a deal? And she said, there is no deal. So take it for what it's worth. So moving on, this job is going to require somebody to work their butt off in Olympia because the problems aren't coming from here. We got a great PUD staff. The problems are coming from Olympia with the Climate Commitment Act. It's going to cost us a fortune. It's coming from private power companies. It's coming from sovereign entities. It's coming from all directions.
5 seconds.
And it's going to hit us hard, and we've got to have somebody that's not just a placeholder, but that's willing to fight like a dog. Thank you.
So one of the things I've realized as I've been spending time as a learning the PUD is there are a lot of other meetings that have to be attended to. City council meetings, county commissioner meetings. There's just a plethora. The court meetings. I don't know how that can be done if you're working full time, but I'm available for that, and that's what my expectation is.
Thank you. 30-second rebuttal, Mr. Bradbury.
Never said there was a deal. Had a conversation with my boss. He is extremely supportive. There's contractual evidence and past precedent to go by. And we could talk about guys like Bob Geddes, Kurt Knapp, Brian Smiley, Rick Larson, a long list of individuals who have served this community in outstanding ways
5 seconds.
and had full-time positions, companies, or jobs, and at the same time executed their other responsibilities fantastically. I'll do the same thing and then some.
Mr. Hood, do you have 30 seconds to rebut? Or would you like 30 seconds to rebut?
Once again,
Would you like 30 seconds to rebut?
yes. Mr. Bradbury has asked the other two commissioners if they could move the day meetings to the afternoon. By his own admission to me, at the first meeting I saw him come to, he said, I have not attended a meeting in 10 years because I'm too busy being a school teacher. I'm not rebutting his argument. There's wonderful people in this community that have served. But he has a contract to be a school teacher. Somebody's going to lose in this situation. I am here for you, the ratepayer, and I'll fight like a dog. Thank you.
What is your vision where should PUD be in 10 years? What is your vision for the PUD in 10 years?
PUDs, I think excellently run. I'm not gonna try to change the direction of the canoe. I'm gonna spend my time doing my best to help out the PUD, to help out our community by being present in meetings, going to Eastern or to Western Washington, communicating with legislatures, trying to figure out ways to bring business to the community and provide solid, dependable leadership to the PUD. I've got 46 years of running my own business. Very skilled at reading contracts, understanding contracts, dealing with employee issues. I posed a whole list of questions to the PUD general manager that I had concerns or possibilities. I got positive results back. But the biggest thing, I am going to fight for you to keep our rates down and our quality up. Thank you.
Mr. Hood?
So if you go over to where my wife is at, I've got a single page. You can see what my focus is going to be. I think rates, we need to make them affordable, keep them affordable as much as we can without impacting the resiliency of the network or of the system itself. Rates are a big importance to our community because of our depressed area that we're in economically. I think transparent leadership is another thing that's very important. I have been posting on Nextdoor and Facebook everything I could possibly think of to get you and me up to date and up to speed on what are the responsibilities of the PUD Commissioner. And lastly, we need to be stewards of this PUD. I think it's important, after seeing what I've paid in rates, that we cannot let a municipality or another power company come in here. This is a golden goose that we need to keep, and that's going to be my focus.
Mr. Bradbury?
Is this the full question? Questions that were shared with us previously, there was another part to this question. The question that you shared with us earlier
What
was...
2 or 3 strategic priorities would you push the board to pursue?
Yeah.
I was hoping that would be in the answer, but yes, go ahead.
Okay, so the question that was shared with us earlier was not only what is your vision for where the utility should be in 10 years, but what 2 or 3 strategic priorities would I push as a board member? Okay. I would like to address the entire question, and I would like to address it a little bit out of order. I'd like to start with our first priority. Our first priority are the people of PUD. I've had the opportunity through the TIP program, Teachers Interested in Public Power, where I analyzed and studied every division of PUD. I've had the opportunity to go out and witness our linemen risking their lives. And they do this in the middle of January at 2 o'clock in the morning at 20 degrees below. We have #1 priority asset to support and protect, and that's our people. And it's not just the linemen. The gals in the front office are amazing. Our management staff, they're brilliant. And I think we have a fantastic general manager as well. So #1 priority is to support our #1 asset, and that's our people. And if you speak with those people, if you get to know those people, their vision is not just 10 years. They're looking out 20, 30, 40 years in the future. It's not a 10-year plan. They are using their combined efforts and their brilliance to look out for our generation, the next generation. They're even thinking about the generation after that. My second priority, and this is a big one, we have negotiations with Seattle City Light coming up here very soon. 2030, we must have a contract and agreement reached with them over the PPA, Power Purchase Agreement. I'm happy to say, and I'm proud to say, that our current general manager and management staff, they're already starting those talks. And they're working in the right direction. And the outcome of that is going to be significant for us as ratepayers. So #1 priority, protect our greatest asset, our staff. #2, we need to make sure that agreement with Seattle City Light works in our favor.
Mr. Bradbury is absolutely correct. And the only way that can be achieved is by being present. I plan to be present and work hard to make everything I can do to keep our rates down and coordinate with the other entities in the county, our commissioners, our POVA, all these important people that work their butts off to keep your rates low. And trust me, there's a wolf on the west side of the state, and he's eyeing us. I see it. I get my utility bills from properties that I still own on the west side. PSE wants a 30% increase. I have a thing on my desk, somebody wants an 85% increase for water and 75% for sewer. Think about that, folks. Imagine what a 30% increase would do to this community. You gotta be present, you gotta fight, and the fight's on the west side of the state, not here. Thank you.
Mr. Hood, do you have a problem?
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with Mr. Bradbury, saying number one thing is the PUD staff. Number one thing is you. You are the number one thing. You pay your bills. You don't want them to go up. You want reliable power. You need somebody who's going to champion you as the ratepayers of this county.
The overwhelming majority of our PUD staff are residents of PUD, or of Oreille County. They have our best interest at heart. Many of these individuals could be in other places making way more money, but they have chosen to be here to serve us. Our PUD has a long-standing reputation of excellence, providing quality service at low cost. And we have the right people there right now to make sure that that continues for generations into the future. By supporting your PUD employees, the overwhelming majority of them, you are supporting ratepayers in Oreille County.
Mr. Wynn, I actually shorted you earlier. You didn't get your 2 minutes, so if you'd like to have another minute to expand upon that,
On that question,
on my question, or we can move on.
move on.
Okay. Gentlemen, are we all good? Can we move on now?
We're good.
In the role that you are seeking, you are not just a rubber stamp when it comes to budgets or rate structures or capital investments. How will you evaluate each aspect, and which specific questions would you ask prior to casting your vote? You can answer in generalized terms, or you can address each of the 3 issues. And we're back to Mr. Becker.
Well, my financial background and experience is specifically in public funds and public finance. I spent 3 years as Priest River Junior High principal, and then after that I crossed the border, came home to Newport, and in addition to teaching full-time, I managed KUBS-FM, a not-for-profit public radio station dealing in public funds and public finance. If you're not aware of public finance, there is a process. If you want to buy so much as a stick of gum, there's a process. Every penny that comes in, every penny that goes out must be accounted for transparently in the public eye. And our PUD's financial practices, our accounting practices are outstanding. They're thorough, comprehensive, meticulously detailed, and transparent. A perfect example of that was this last Tuesday's board meeting when April, our internal auditor, gave the financial review discussing budget, rate structure, capital investments in such a detailed manner, looking at forecasts into the future, trends in the past, accounting for every income, every source of revenue, every source of expenditure. The detail is fantastic. And I wouldn't try to fix what ain't broke. My questions ultimately, though, comes down to quality service at low cost. When it comes to those line item issues, are we balancing revenues with expenses? As we are analyzing our rates through cost of service analysis, I believe that's what people called it, we are looking at who is creating the cost. And are they paying?
15 sessions.
Ultimately, we need to balance our revenue with our quality of service, ensuring that overall writing goal of PUD, which is continuing to provide quality service at low cost.
Mr. Bradbury. Same question. You're not a rubber stamp when it comes to budgets, rate structures, and capital investments. How will you evaluate each aspect? Which questions will you ask prior to voting?
Every issue has to be looked at, evaluated, and researched. Research takes time. I've outreached to 2 of the other commissioners, and the common answer was 4 to 6 hours of prep weekly before the bi-weekly meeting. So I'm committed to that kind of time frame for you as a ratepayer. And as a private business owner for 46 years, I can't count how many times that I thought I was going to go broke. How many times that if I didn't get out of bed and get to work and bust my butt, everything that my wife and I had worked for was going to be gone. So you can talk about counting candy and all that kind of stuff, but the real world is a different place. The real world is the working world where men in business, but men and women in the world put everything on the line to run a business. I've been a blue-collar guy most of my life. I'm a house painter. That's who I am. But I ran a business, figured it out, and that's my skill set. And I'll work for you as the ratepayer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hood. Same question. You're not a rubber stamp. How will you evaluate each aspect before voting?
Yeah, I think it's all about value that's being brought to whatever decisions need to be made. What's the value over the 5 to 10 year window? How does this impact the ratepayers today and tomorrow? These are the things that you need to think about when decisions are being discussed, and you have to do your research to make sure that these decisions are not going to impact negatively the ratepayers or the infrastructure that we count on so readily.
Mr. Gregory. Okay. Next question. Does anyone have a rebuttal for this?
Good.
The PUD provides electricity, broadband, fiber, and water to parts of the area or all of the area, depending on where you are. What do you see as the broader obligation of this utility to the economic health, quality of life, and standard of living of every ratepayer here in this county, including those in rural and underserved areas? Mr. Rowe.
All those categories are different categories that need to be treated separately because they all have to carry themselves. Fiber, water, power, all those issues have to support themselves. Ratepayers don't currently and should never have to subsidize an individual business, one of the other entities, to buy the ratepayers. And the question that I've had come up to me is the water companies. People are like, wow, my water rates went through the roof when the PUD took it over. Well, when I dig further, I find out that the water district was in extreme disarray. So the PUD fixed it because basically nobody else wants the job. That's why the rates went up, because the PUD shares the cost with those people carry the full cost of that expense. Thank you.
Mr. Hood.
So reliable, affordable utilities is foundational to this county and the families that live here. There's also another area where we have underserved folks and a digital divide that we need to address. And I'd like to think that one of the things that I would bring forth is how do we serve those counties that are underserved today.
Mr. Gregory.
Well, if we're going to discuss the broader obligation of PUD, you really need to understand the history behind PUDs in the state of Washington. The PUD's primary obligation, after all, is rooted in its history. Let's jump back roughly 100 years. Prior to 1930, utilities were provided by investor-based private entities. They did not see it profitable to extend transmission lines and utilities out to rural areas, rural underserved areas, maybe logging communities or mining communities like Pend Oreille County. In 1930, the very first citizen initiative in the state of Washington was passed. Citizen initiative number 1 in the state of Washington, in the history of the state of Washington, was designed to create public utility districts that would serve rural underserved areas and provide them affordable, reliable power and utilities. That grassroots effort is still alive and well today. In fact, if their charge was to provide reliable, affordable utilities to rural underserved areas, that sounds an awful lot like the vision and motto of Pend Oreille County PUD. Quality service at low cost. Reliable, affordable utilities. That is the charge of PUDs, and especially the charge of Pend Oreille County PUD. That's why it is absolutely essential that you make sure that your Pend Oreille County Public Utility District commissioners are truly knowledgeable of the history of this community, of the people in this community. Without that grassroots effort,
5 seconds.
we're at the mercy of private investors, and we must make sure that we maintain a citizen-owned public utility district in Pend Oreille County.
Mr. Rudd, did you want to rebuttal?
My opponent continually talks about his close connectivity to all the employees of BUD. Well, I'm going to share with you a story. I've got a Labrador on my ranch that loves me and follows me around all day. Every once in a while, I see that little girl get away from me and I find her lingering around the dog or the kitty litter box in the barn. I'm just saying that sometimes you need to hire a guy that knows where the litter box is and that somebody shouldn't be too close to the litter box. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much.
Mr. Hood, would you like to want to rebuttal?
No, I'm fine.
Mr. Bradbury, you have 30 seconds if you would like to rebuttal. No, actually, I'm sorry, you have 1 minute
You
rebuttal.
just have to say it. Those of you that know me, I have attempted to base my campaign on my merits. I have not attempted, or I have not spent an ounce of my time trying to find ways to undermine my other opponents or making accusations that are unfounded about the staff of I have dispelled that garbage. I haven't looked at it. I have tried to take the high road and let you know that the character of the individual that I hope you vote for PUD commissioner is disguised. I am focusing on my merits, my experience, the relations and the relationships that I have with the people of this community. And those of you that are in this room, the vast majority of you do know who I am. That's not just blowhard BS.
5 seconds. Mr. Rudd, you have 30 seconds if you would like to offer another rebuttal.
No rebuttal.
In your own words, describe who you work for as a PUD commissioner and what your primary duty is to the people of this county. Let me go again. In your own words, describe who you work for as a PUD commissioner and what your primary duty is to the people of this county. Explain how that is fundamentally different from the role of the general manager and staff. And Mr. Sorry,
Includes a question too.
Who's the question?
it's to all of you, but Mr. Hood starts
Okay,
there.
okay.
Yeah, that's easy. The commissioner is responsible to the ratepayers. That is the number 1 responsibility we have. I'll use a Navy analogy. The captain's on the bridge. He's determining where the ship is going, but everyone else is down below decks making things happen. That is the general manager's responsibility to administer and make sure that things are running smoothly, where the governance model is by the PUD commissioner.
Mr. Gregory?
I contemplated using that analogy. That ain't a bad one. I went with a different approach though. But first though, let me point out that number one, PUD commissioners work for and serve the people of Oreille County. All of them. At first I wanted to say the ratepayers of Oreille County, but it's everybody. The kids, the people who vote, the people who don't vote. If they're living in Oreille County, Oreille County PUD serves them. And that's our number one obligation. And yes, the PUD commissioner is supposed to establish, that's their state requirement, their legal requirement, to establish policy and budget and set rates. But there is a distinction. The analogy that I went with is to equate or to make the comparison between the structure of PUD, the relationship that we have between the board, the GM, and the management staff. I like to equate that to the three branches of government in the United States. The three branches of government include an executive branch, responsible for executing the laws, a legislative branch, and we all know that the legislative branch, they hold the purse strings, and then of course you have your judicial branch, the Supreme Court, if you will. How does that relate to PUD? Well, your executive branch would be your general manager, responsible for executing the day-to-day procedures, activities, and policies of PUD. The legislative branch over here would be your management staff, responsible for creating a budget that follows the policies and the budget adopted by the Board of Commissioners. Up above, your judicial, your Supreme Court. That's your PUD commissioners. They not only establish the policy and the budgets, but then they have the accountability piece as well. Once the other two get done with their jobs, it is up to the PUD commissioners to ensure that their efforts are following the policies, procedures, and the budget that have been set forth to them in order to meet the needs of our community.
Mr. Beckman, 2 minutes.
The PUD commissioner's job, or he serves the ratepayers, but his job, I think, a better analogy than those two analogies is he's on the board of directors of a large company. His job is to set policy, set direction, set procedure, and then rely on the general manager to do his job, and his job is to run the day-to-day operations of the company. So, as your representative, I will make sure that I have your best interests at heart. I'm not beholden to somebody. I've got no preconceived notions about employees of the PUD. They're all fine, hardworking people, and I'm not putting my bets in that tank. I'm going to stay neutral, and I'm going to solve the problems as they're presented to me. Thank you very much.
Mr. Hood, you have a 1-minute rebuttal, if you wish.
Yeah, I sure do. RCW 54 talks about what the responsibilities and roles are for the commissioners. I'm going to read a direct quote because I'm going to put this on my desk. The district exists solely to serve ratepayers at lowest reasonable cost, consistent with sound utility practices. There's a duty of care. We got to do rates. We've got to make sure budgets are right. We have a duty of loyalty. That's to you. And lastly, a duty of obedience. That's to RCW 54.
Mr. Bradbury, do you wish any 1-minute rebuttal?
Nope.
Mr. Wright?
Nope.
You have spoken to the separation basically of management versus commissioner direction versus executing that direction. What would you do if you believe management was making a significant operational or financial decision without proper board oversight or approval? And Mr. Bradbury, that you again heard.
In my experience as a principal, in dealing with people, managing students, and dealing with parents, I know that the knee-jerk is to go right to consequences, policy, and what pound of flesh are we going to take when things go wrong. In my experience as an educator, as a teacher, and as a coach, however, when things go wrong, you have to start asking questions and digging deeper. You have to ask questions as to the motivations, what went wrong. And so often when things do go wrong, more times than not, that provides opportunity. Opportunity to build a relationship with wherever it went wrong. An opportunity to dig a little bit deeper and find out why did it go wrong, and come together, create common language, create a plan, and improve and get better. If the first time that a kid misses a block out on the football field, you fire him and tell him, get off the field, where's the improvement? Where's the learning opportunity? When things go wrong, and they will, you can potentially get a learning opportunity where you can better your organization, better the people, better your relationships. Now, in the event that, yes, it was something that was dastardly, there are policies that stipulate what the punishment, what the consequences would be. But in my experience, dealing with kids, dealing with parents, managing individuals, problems and things that don't turn out right, instead of them being the end all, that could be just the beginning of a conversation that leads to building better relationships, creating solutions, creating better shared language, and improving the individual, your relationships, and your organizations.
Mr. Wright?
The first thing I would do is get all the facts before I make a decision. No knee-jerk reactions. I think sometimes somebody's trying to paint both Ernie and I as somebody that's going to react off crazy. Not going to happen. After 46 years of being in business, making very difficult decisions, having employees all over the United States working, having to deal with budgets, time, employee issues, customer issues, product issues, facility issues. I'm very well versed in management, and it's real world management, not a different level of management. I am the guy that has the skill sets to do this job for you, the ratepayer. Thank you.
I think the first thing I do is I get as much information as I could together. I call the board together and let us figure out what the policy, how the policy was overstepped, because they are responsible for the day-to-day operations, not setting policy. I think it's important that the PD commissioners make sure they stay in their lane and make sure that the GM stays in his lane.
Mr. Bradbury, we're back with you. Would you like 1 minute rebuttal?
I'll pass.
Mr. Rudd?
I'll pass.
Mr. Hood?
Fine.
All right, great. How do you plan to ensure that your decisions in office remain impartial to your current or future donations? For the audience, the 3 candidates from the last time I checked, they chose the minimized reporting, and it's a short reporting form. That may change according to some of them once they've made it through the primaries. But donation information is available on the PDC website, as we discussed earlier. How will you ensure that you are impartial to the donors or the intention of your donors? And as earlier, we're going to couple that with the question of what power do you actually have that you can affect as a single member of a 3-person panel? Go ahead, Mr. Rapp.
I filed short form, as did my 2 opponents, which is limit set at $7,000. I recently publicly stated that I plan to change that to long form. As many of you may have known, I had over $2,000 worth of my signage, literally 80% of my signage in the county stolen in one night. And it was tragic. I'm a little discombobulated today because I spent all day yesterday driving to Spokane to get replacement signs, secure the funding for that. So I'm rebounding from that. So that's why I'm going long form. But I am beholden to nobody. I am self-financed, and will continue to be self-financed, but I will be going long form so that I can make up the difference for the losses that I incurred for the theft of my signs. Thank you.
Mr. Hood?
Yeah, so I don't take donations at all. In fact, there's somebody in here that has given me money, and my campaign manager refused for us to take it. And so we gave it back. So I'm a man of integrity, not beholden. I don't want to be beholden to anybody's money. And we are self-funded. As Tracy has said, there's a $7,000 limit that we can spend. If someone would like to see our books and what we're spending on signs or whatever, you can talk to my campaign manager and she'll give you that information. As part of a three-member board, it's all about collaboration. I can't make decisions in a vacuum. I can give advice and we can talk about things, but the bottom line is we are one board, and it's important that we work together as opposed to having little things that we want to do and not tell our other commissioners.
Mr. Becker?
Former Newport Mayor Kevin Murphy insisted on donating $200 to my campaign. He Apple Gizmoed it to me, and I don't know how to access it. But there's $200 sitting there. I don't know how to get it over into my bank account. Jared Campbell, he gave me $40, 220s, in support of my campaign. I have a cousin who greatly admires Tracy's big signs. And he texted me, and I hadn't heard from him in 5 years, 6 years. Out of the blue, Dale texts me and says, "Hey, you need some big signs like that competitor of yours. I want to buy some." I haven't seen the money yet, but I love my cousin, and if he wants to buy me a big sign to compete with Tracy's, I'll let him do that. But the other, $4,300 that I've spent so far on my campaign has come out of my pocket, nobody else's. My initial budget was $3,500. I thought, there's no way in heck I'm going to spend that much money. Yep, I'm a little over $4,200 right now, and I really don't plan on spending much more than that. I was darn near credit card debt free until this campaign, and I've got a credit card with almost $4,300 on it. Yes, I filed short form. I thought there was no way in heck I would be spending more than $7,000, and I do not plan to.
Gentlemen, anything you want to rebuttal, or can we move on?
I think I want to address an inaccuracy by Mr. Hood. The three PUD commissioners can't collude with each other on an issue before a vote. They all have to independently give their answer, give their vote. They can't collude with each other ahead of time in some backdoor smoke-filled room to decide how they're going to treat you, the ratepayer. Every one of the district commissioners acts independently on what their thoughts are and how they vote. Just a clarification.
So if I intimated that, mea culpa, that's not what I was saying. I'm saying that in a board meeting, all of us have to be working together and collaborate, not outside. You're absolutely right.
Thank you for correcting that.
Mr. Gregory, do you want a 30-second call? Please explain your stance on data centers. How have the economic impact of the multiples in our county? Sorry. What are the drawbacks do they bring? And with respect to the voters, please keep your answers in frame reference of Conway County. Leave Mr. Gregory take your mind.
The million-dollar question in the room, AI data centers. I don't have the answer to that question. That's going to take a lot of work to figure that out because it's a multifaceted problem. Brandy spoke about the jobs, the income. I looked at last month's PUD meeting where they talked about the decrease in the amount of funds that are coming into from the tax base from Merkle Standard. So as I see reports of roads getting back to gravel from asphalt because of lack of funds in the county, I think, wow, we need more money to support our county. So that's one side of the issue. The other side of the issue is I'm worried about the power, I'm worried about if there's water, I'm worried about all environmental, I'm worried about if there's noise for my family. Whether those issues are real or not, those are things I, like you as a ratepayer, am worried about. But I can't give you the answer to that question because it's going to take a lot of in-depth study and figuring out to come up with an answer to that question. I want to be present and work with my county commissioners, the city leaders, and everything else to do everything that I can do through my experience as a business owner to make this a better community, because I live here, I invested here, I've got grandchildren here, and I'm going to be here until they put me underneath the ground. So, thanks for your support.
Mr. Hood.
Yeah, so this is a very interesting topic for me. I spent 17 years at Hewlett-Packard. I spent 4 years in the server division. A lot of the technologies that are in data centers were pioneered by Hewlett-Packard. Water cooling, immersive cooling, lots of technologies. I don't want to nerd out anybody. So what I have seen is the good, the bad, and the ugly with data centers. My feeling is data centers can be good for a county. It provides jobs up front. Not a lot of jobs usually after it's committed, because there's technology that HP has invented called ILO, integrated lights out. You shut the door, you don't need anybody in that data center. So there's jobs up front. Once those jobs go away, there is a tax base that can come from that data center. Really, what I'd like to see, instead of more data centers, is more business. We need jobs in the community. Long-term jobs, not jobs that just are building like Grandview, and when they're done, they're gone. So the other thing I would say is guardrails have to be put in place for data centers. I didn't say guidelines, I said guardrails. There are places in the country where county commissioners have given tax abatement for 10 to 15 years. What's the benefit to the county? Not taxes. The PUD has a very strong guardrail. If anybody comes in with a load of 5 megawatts or greater, they have to buy their power off the grid. They have to buy their power off the grid, they have to put the infrastructure in, and then PUD will manage it. So that is my stance on data centers.
Mr. Berman.
My opinion on data centers, one way or the other, is irrelevant. As a PUD commissioner, PUD has the responsibility to provide utilities. If these entities are able to get through the permitting processes, the environmental processes, and you know the paperwork involved in the state of Washington to get approval for these type of things, that is a giant mess all in and of itself. If they get through all of the permitting, and then they have the ability to build a structure, it's the PUD's responsibility, legal obligation to provide utilities. Okay? We can't say yes or no to that. That's our responsibility. Now, I would love to see more living wage jobs. I'd love to see industry. Whether it's a big business or a bunch of little businesses, that's an awesome debate and an awesome thing to discuss. I'd love to see that back in this community. But as far as the PUD's effect over that, that's a question for the port, your Chamber of Commerce's, your county commissioners. The PUD's responsibility in that is to provide quality service at low cost, as we are legally obligated to do so. There are benefits though. Like Randy said earlier, there's tax money and revenues coming in through those centers. If they're not there, there's jobs lost. Maybe not a ton of jobs, but it's something. And if it is viable, if it does bring some finances to the community, that's
15
great.
seconds.
These data centers cannot charge sales tax. They cannot charge certain taxes, but they are able to wage what's referred to as a privilege tax. That privilege tax brings money into our community, and that is a benefit to our economy.
Mr. Rep, you have 1 minute for rebuttal, but just 1 second, so I'm going to check to see if we have any cards back here.
I think both of these men eloquently stated exactly the situation that we're in. I agree with both of them 100%, and I don't think I could put it any better than both of them did. Thank you, guys.
Mr. Hood, you have 1 minute.
I'm fine.
In the same vein, what power does your position as PUD commissioner give you to recruit, for instance, a manufacturing business that wants to come in PUD? In other words, what is the PUD's role in economic development in this county? Mr. Hood.
So again, as David has mentioned, it's not the responsibility of the PUD to generate opportunities for businesses other than their electric and their internet. So this is where the county commissioners come in, the court comes in, the Economic Development Council. We're there to provide the backbone, the electric and the internet for them to be a viable business.
Mr. Bradbury.
I would piggyback off of that. I agree with that word for word. However, there's a reason why these data centers are coming to Oreille County. We have inexpensive power and fantastic service. There's a reason why entities like that want to come here. PNC came here back in the day. They wanted the inexpensive power and the great service that PUD provides. If we play any part at all in attracting outside entities to come to Oreille County, it's not going to be through subsidizing or using public funds inappropriately, because we can't do that. You cannot gift public funds. PUD, they have the responsibility of providing utilities, and they do an awesome job with it. That alone should be an attractant for people to want to come here. Now, the development, the wooing, the recruiting, those are those other entities that you mentioned. As far as the PUD is concerned, what part do we play in it? We keep doing what we've been doing, and we want to continue to do it. Providing awesome, effective power, water, fiber at extremely affordable costs.
Mr. Rep.
That's correct. As a PUD commissioner, the PUD does not have the responsibility or the ability to decide who gets power and who doesn't. That's up to our commissioners, our city, a lot of other entities that get involved. But my concern is that you have to be present to work with all the different entities in the county, have the time to rally around those people, give them the support that they need, answer their questions, because those questions have to come from those people looking to receive that. And it has to be run through the filter of you, through me, us, whoever's in that position is a ratepayer. That's what it's all about. We have to filter all of our decisions through the eyes of the ratepayer. So, AI data center or a big manufacturing center, any of those entities have to be looked at from the perspective of, is it good for our community? And I'm not speaking as a PUD person, because we don't have that choice. I'm speaking as a member of our community. How does it help us? Thank you.
Gentlemen, does anyone need any rebuttal for this? If a candidate is elected and has a salary job position, will they have their pay reduced to cover contracted time missed? I'm going to assume they're asking So that's more of a procedural question, Mr. Hood.
I'm not quite sure how to answer that from the standpoint of, I don't have a full-time job, and so I would just take the salary that's been given me. I don't know if there's legal ramifications of reducing the salary to compensate for someone else's full-time job. That's beyond my scope.
Mr. Bradbury?
Can you repeat that, please? Clarify, please.
As PUD commissioner, if you are missing time serving as PUD commissioner, for instance, not being able to attend a conference or not being able to attend a meeting, will your pay be reduced because you're missing the meeting?
I don't know on the PUD's behalf, but in my conversation with my employer, it's likely that I will have to take leave without pay when I miss days of instruction. So I fully anticipate having my teaching wages reduced in order for me to be able to fully and effectively serve in a PUD commissioner capacity. But as far as the PUD is concerned, I don't know what their policies are specific to that, so I can't speak to that.
Thank you, Mr. Brett.
So what you're being asked right now is an either-or question. Am I a teacher or am I a PUD commissioner? I'll let you decide, the ratepayer. I'm here for you. I'm retired. I'm looking for something to do, and I've got the skill sets to do it. I do not believe it is fair for somebody to double dip when they got a job as a teacher, because somebody's getting a substitute and they're watching a movie. Thank you.
Mr. Hood, would you like a minute rebuttal?
No, I don't need a rebuttal.
Mr. Bradbury, you need a rebuttal.
I don't think I'm going to dignify that.
This person in the audience says they believe it's important for our PUD to engage with our local youth, which happens to be one of my questions here already submitted, and to be, in order to help develop a workforce that is also informed. All right, can you speak to your ability to connect with our local youth organizations to do this? And they would love to hear your ideas on how you can accomplish connecting with the youth. Basically, how can you get the youth engaged? What mechanisms do you have right now? And I'll leave it with Mr. Hood. No, I'm sorry, Mr. Bradbury.
That's my job. I teach, going on 33 years that I've taught, I will have taught 37 different subjects, among those civics, current world problems, social studies, and I get paid to inform kids about and teach kids about our community, their civic responsibilities. PUD, in addition to that, is a fantastic organization that has a long-lasting track record for encouraging students to further their education and come back home. I'm an example of that. When I was in college, I worked for PUD in the summertime as an engineering assistant. Chris Jones did. Our county prosecutor, Dolly Hunt, she was one of them. Rick Hughes was one. And I could go down the list of the actions that PUD currently engages in, educationally, and so on, that empowers our kids to further their education and hopefully come home, and then serve their community, work in the community, and give back. I'm proud of being one of those. I'm proud of PUD's efforts in doing that, and as a PUD commissioner, I would do my best to continue those endeavors to hopefully see our kids come back and contribute in this community.
Thank you, Mr. Rick.
I think the program where they hire summer college students to come to work is a fantastic program, an amazing program, and I've had the opportunity to see those young faces out in the field. I've seen them get recognition at the different meetings, and the only thing I might add to that would be a concern of mine as an outside person looking in is making sure that there's no nepotism in those jobs that those children get. We have a big county, and sometimes North County is very underserved, and things seem to happen where people are connected. So I would make sure that in those decisions, those students that are selected for those positions have the skills, the grades, the time to serve and that not be selected by nepotism. Thank you very much.
Mr. Hood?
Yeah, so I agree. What they did at Box Canyon, or Dam, last meeting, having all those kids standing there, talking about what they're doing, what they plan on doing, that's wonderful. The corporate world's a little different. I've got 35 years in the corporate world. Maybe you've heard of Moms Take Your Kids to Work Day. I see anybody shaking their head? No. And then there was also shadowing. When I was working at Hewlett Packard, I had to take 3 kids around to every one of my meetings, and they just kept saying, "This is so boring. Why, I don't want to do this." And I'm like, well, now you know what you don't want to do. And so I'd like to see the PUD institute shadowing. I'd like to see, moms, dads take your kids to work so that they can get an understanding of the PUD, get an understanding of the jobs that are there, and maybe eliminate, scratch some jobs off that they don't want to do.
We're going to go on to the next question. The county commissioner candidates do not believe in salary caps. This is in response to the question asked in the previous debate about whether or not there should be salary caps, and about the fact that we have a very large government employee force as opposed to free capitalism employing people. So what is your opinion on salary caps? Mr. Wright?
Salary caps are not a good thing. If the PUD commission sees the need that they've got to raise somebody's wages to compete with the marketplace, that's called capitalism. I've lived it my entire life. So all of those decisions by the 3 commissioners, make that decision with a lot of thought about what's best in the best interest of the community and you as the ratepayers. Thank you.
Mr. Hood?
Yeah, part of my MBA training was economics. And if you cap something, guess what's going to happen? You're not going to have those people. They're going to leave, right? It's no different than rent control. And if you understand supply and demand, you want to attract good people. You want to pay them accordingly, not above the market rates for the area that you're living in.
Mr. Bradbury?
A local example, 5.5 miles that way, you have West Bonner County School District. Fantastic people work there. Their kids are so much like ours. The socioeconomic condition is almost identical. When there's a job opening over there, and the wages are significantly lower, they have a difficult time getting people to apply. When there's a job opening here in Newport, there are multiple applications. In years past, there were 30, 40 applications, and a number of those were Priest River teachers. Fantastic Priest River teachers. In fact, over the years, going all the way back to Ned Nicholson, and Barbara Bell, I can go down the list of teachers at Newport High School and Newport School District that we have benefited from robbing from Priest River. But the primary reason for that is your wages, the pay. You can't pay in wages, and you're going to lose your best and brightest. If you want to attract the best and brightest, you have to have competitive wages.
Is there an advantage or a disadvantage to us serving power to Seattle City Light? Do we have to do so forever? Mr. Hood, you begin.
So right now, if you don't realize, everything that's generated from Boundary goes to Seattle Power Light. Box Canyon, that goes to the Clark PUD. I think it's important that we make sure that we are constantly getting the best rates that we can from EPA. It's important to notice that everyone, Tracy brought up what's going on in Seattle, and it's going around the country. The rates for electricity are going through the roof. 40% I've seen that happen. And so, right now we have a great situation with power coming from Seattle Power and Light, up to 40 megawatts from Boundary, and I kind of like that.
Mr. Gregory?
Can you restate the question, please?
I'm not sure. Is there an advantage or disadvantage to us serving power to Seattle City Light? Do we have to forever?
Serving power to Seattle City Light?
Getting power from.
Yeah, I believe the question probably is in reverse. Well, the history behind that arrangement, roughly 80-ish years ago, Oreille County PUD had a tentative license to build another dam in Z Canyon, and through, well, whatever happened, FERC approved the building of a dam by Seattle, the city of Seattle, thus Boundary Dam. That eliminated our ability to build our next dam in Z Canyon. So we took them to court and we won. As a result of that, that lawsuit in perpetual, it's supposed to be forever, but that's a question coming up here in a couple of years. It's going to be negotiated, and at the end of the licensing period, it'll be negotiated again. But 48 megawatts of power from Boundary at cost as a result of that settlement comes to Oreille County PUD. It is the cheapest and the least expensive power. And Oreille County PUD, looking out for your interests, the ratepayers and the small businesses get that power first and foremost, period. Okay?
5 seconds.
And is it necessary for us to continue to get that 48 megawatts? Oh yeah. If we don't get that, our ratepayers suddenly will be paying triple, quadruple. So yeah, it's absolutely essential that we receive that 48 megawatts into the future and beyond.
Mr. Rudd?
He's absolutely correct. That is the situation that we're in. Somebody has to be present and have the time and the intellectual fortitude to make that happen, or we're all in trouble, because the west side looks at us as a lamb. They look at us as the opportunity to slaughter, to take what we got, and trust me, Seattle PUD will be brutal. And there's other entities out there that are gonna be brutal. And somebody's gotta be present to fight that other side of the state for those issues. And I'm that guy. Thank you.
The last 3 questions happen to be individual questions, and we'll just go down the line.
Don't-
Mr. Hood?
Don't we have 1 minute follow-up?
Yes, if you would like, go ahead.
We do. I've used these before. Suddenly it looks like but that 48 megawatts, it is the key to our local ratepayers and small businesses enjoying the least expensive power that people within 3 or 4 states potentially are able to enjoy. We provide awesome service through the PUD and awesome rates. And for our local ratepayers, our residential people and our small businesses, is because of that 48 megawatts. Now, in 3 years, the issuance, the manipulation of that 48 megawatts, how it's going to play out, that's going to be negotiated. Whether or not we get it, that doesn't happen until 2035 or 2038. We still have a number of years before the FERC license ends. And then that 48,
5 seconds.
then that 48 megawatts will be renegotiated at the end of the license. Understanding the history of this is important and essential to being a PUD commissioner.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to rebuttal?
I think we all understand the history of the problem. And we have to be able to analyze all the information. It's going to take a lot of time to do it, a lot of extra effort in order to come up with those answers and to be able to vote appropriately. And that's the whole crux of my argument, why I'm your guy, because I got the time, I got the energy, my wife wants me out of the house, and I've got the skill sets to work for you, the ratepayer. Thank you.
Mr. Hood, did you want to comment or go?
Yeah, I just want to say, in 2021, there was what's called a term-limited operational settlement. So there is cost escalation from the power that we're getting. We originally started at 233,000. By 2030, that'll be 394,000. So there is some concern about when this, like David said, when this contract ends. And I think it's very important that we stay on top of this.
30 seconds, Mr. Benbury.
Y'all have entrusted me to teach your children in the school district. We're going on 25 years. I've been present for 25 years and then some. I've had the intellectual fortitude to love and to serve your kids. That's real world stuff. Please allow me to serve you as a PUD commissioner too.
30 seconds, Mr. Hood, if you would like.
I'm good.
Mr. Hood.
Not to that question.
Okay. So the individual questions are, Mr. Hood, did you attend the June 30 board meeting at Box Canyon? That answer is actually hidden in one of your previous answers, but let's go ahead and answer it directly. Did you attend the June 30 board meeting at Box Canyon?
I did, I was on,
I was on Zoom or Teams. I think it's called Teams.
Teams. Mr. Bradbury, did Dave Smith, your boss, give you extra days off to attend meetings? What is your plan to represent us? You have also already answered this, however, I think you're looking for a succinct listing of what is available to you.
It's contractual. There's no special any deal or arrangement. Our contract very specifically states how many annual leave days, how many sick leave days, arrangements or ways to apply for and receive leave without pay. It's contractual and it's open to the public. You can read the contract if you like.
And finally, Mr. Rupp, you have mentioned multiple times in your campaign that you plan to donate your first year's salary to a nonprofit. Have you chosen that nonprofit?
No, my plan is to ask all the nonprofits in the county to submit a reason why they want the money. I'll throw them all in a jar, and every payday I'll draw one out, write out a check, and put it in the mail. And I've been criticized for that offer in the community, and I want to ask the community a question. If the county made the decision to tear up your road and make it gravel, and your neighbor at the end of the street came and said, my grandmother left me a bunch of money and I'm going to pave the road so that I have a paved road, would you tell them, no, I don't want you to do that. I don't want your grandma's money. The point that I was making in offering that up is that I'm not tied to anybody. I've got no other reason. It's not a second job for me to pad my retirement income. I don't need to worry about any of that business. I'm going to give it all away the first year. I hope to be able to give more away, but I couldn't commit to more than that. So that's how I'm going to give it away. I want it to be full and transparent. Maybe I can announce it on the radio every bi-weekly, or I'm not even sure when we get paid or how we get paid, but that's what I would do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, audience members, for your attendance and for giving up your time. You stole about 20 minutes of your evening, and I do apologize. These are fantastic questions, though. And again, I'm Miss Claire with the Southern Sun, new assistant Sandra Park, and good morning. Thank you very much.
no closing statements.
I guess not.
Folks, ironic candidates for their closing statements. Can you believe that? I'm very sorry. Mr. Hood, would you please 2 minutes?
Sure. I want to thank Sophia and Selkirk Sun for hosting the debate. Hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did. Look, this race comes down to one simple question. Who's best prepared to keep our county reliable in our rates as I did? When I was 17 years old, on May 18th, 1976, I raised my right hand to enlist in the Navy. promising to take care of the Constitution, defend the Constitution from enemies within and without, to follow the President's orders and any orders that was given to me by officers above me. I was willing to write a blank check up to and including my life. I wanted to just let you know this evening I'm making the same commitment to you. I will do everything I can. I will be as transparent as possible in any decisions that are made. You might not know I have a Facebook account. I also am using Nextdoor. I believe there is something that I have that's a unique benefit, and that is my master's degree. And I got a little quote here that says, my master's degree wasn't just a degree, it was intense training in risk assessment, regulatory compliance, business strategy, financial analysis. While others have experience in doing business, I have the formal training in analyzing and managing complex commercial budgets, which are the exact skills needed for this multi-million-dollar public utility. Thank you. My wife is there. If you want to take a sign, take some materials. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bradbury.
When I was 17-year-old, I was in this building. ASB vice president, captain of the football team, captain of the baseball team. I finished about 5th in my class. Margaret Switzer, Jason Cicero, those guys were the valedictorian, Timmy Casey, valedictorian types, the dentist now. I had a flat top. I killed the ASVAB. My dad's sitting in the audience right here. He's got the USS Coral Sea hat on. He's my hero. And I want to make him proud. As ASB vice president, I had the opportunity to sit down and have lunch one day with Tom Foley. He visited our school here. And we went out to lunch with Tom Foley, and I told him my plans. I killed the ASVAB. I've got great grades. I was football captain. And I wanted to go into the Air Force Academy or the Naval Academy. He said, I think we might be able to work something out. In so many words. I came home and I was excited. I tell my dad about that. He said, son, please no. He lost a brother in an accident on a ship during Vietnam. He lost his other brother in a hunting incident in the north end of Oreille County. He said, you're my only son. Please, instead of going into the service, be the first Bradbury to graduate from college. My sister was the first to graduate from high school. I was the second. Go get your college degree and then come back home and serve your community. So I got a teaching degree. Teaching is a service-oriented profession. And I've been blessed with that.
15 seconds.
In addition to that, I served on City Council, Planning and Zoning Commission, NYAA Commissioner. I mean, I can go down the list, and I didn't do these things to build my resume, because someday I wanted to be PUD Commissioner. I did it because I love this community. Now, please, give me the opportunity to serve you again
Thank you.
as your PUD Commissioner.
Mr. Wright.
Thank you guys for those wonderful stories. It comes down to you, the ratepayer. Who's going to best serve you, the ratepayer? That's me. I've got the skills, very similar backgrounds, life history stories. I won't dive into them. I'm here to serve you, the ratepayer. I'm here, I'm present, and I have nobody is attached me to anything, any group. I've not been involved with the PUD for my entire life. I'm here to serve you, the ratepayer. That's the bottom line that we're looking at. So I hope I get your vote. Thanks for coming out tonight. It means a lot to me to see our community here. You folks are the people in the arena. Thank you.
Ernie. Yeah. Thank you.
sit down?